7 o'clock, let's stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I get a motion to accept minutes of June 5th.
So moved.
Second.
Any other further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. The motion to accept the financial report and payment of the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Any budget amendments there, Steve?
No, none tonight.
Okay. Alrighty. All right, we have a special presentation to make tonight, and Commissioner Gibbons will take that.
Mayor Persona and Commissioner Jablonski, Commissioner Hicks, and Commissioner Ponder, I was privileged to attend the Elkton High School Senior Award tonight, and Elkton in its second year of giving a $500 scholarship. We also done the same that night, and our recipient is here with us tonight. I met her formally, and it's much a pleasure it is that she's here tonight, that we can all meet her and greet her. And her name is Sarah Harris, and Sarah, when she attended Elkton High School, was in the National Honor Society. Sarah was in the Art Honor Society, and Sarah certainly, with that academics behind her, carried a GPA of 3.8, which is almost an A average. And she plans to attend the University of Hawaii. She's going to major in elementary education, and I've been in education here, and normally when students graduate from Cecil County, they are often given the opportunity to return here with the learning experience that they got elsewhere, and certainly Sarah would be the same. Also, she was a participant in varsity field hockey and varsity lacrosse, and at this time I'm going to ask the board if they would come down, Sarah come up, town administrator take a picture, and Mayor, you can hand her the check and be beside her.
Come on over here. University of Hawaii. You
Got room?
should be University of Cover in the middle. The picture doesn't come out. We're going to Hawaii. We're going to get this picture right. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2. I'm not sure what language he's speaking about. Wait a minute. Flash today. Hang on a minute. No panic on it. We'll try it again. Perfect. Thank you. Congratulations.
As her dad, can I just say something?
Yes, you may.
I just want to thank everybody. I appreciate the support from the town. Quite literally are sending her, because this is her plane ticket. Thank you.
Enjoy Hawaii.
And do good.
All right, meeting ground, Patricia Marks, Executive Director, and Terry Lockey, President of the Board of Directors. You can sit down there. You got it.
I just want to introduce myself.
Just try and get close to the mic there.
I'm Terry Loki. I'm the Board of Directors President. And I'm going to have Veronica introduce.
Since I'm an Elkton resident.
You can bend that down a little closer to you. You don't have to.
Like this?
Yeah, that's good.
Don't break it.
My name is Marijke van Buchem. I have been a 20-year resident of Elkton. We are retired here, and since 7 years, I've been volunteering at Meeting Ground, and as of last year, I'm on the board, and in this position, I would like to introduce to you Patricia Marks, who is the new executive director. She would like to tell you about Meeting Ground and where we are at the moment.
Okay. And as a resident of Elkton, Meeting Ground, as you probably know, and in fact some of you may know Meeting Ground better than I do, is a program designed to end homelessness. We are housed here in Elkton. We run the day program, the Mary Randall Center. We run a men's shelter, a women's shelter, a transitional house, and our newest program is called Housing Now, where we subsidize people who are living in scattered sites throughout the area. We give them emotional as well as financial support so that they get back on their feet. We help find whatever resources they need to find to get stabilized in the community so that they are good neighbors. I just wanted to come and find out more about the town of Elkton and tell you all about Meeting Ground.
Okay. Well, Mary Jo's has been working a lot with.
Yeah, I actually had the honor to meet with Patricia, and we had a very nice conversation, and I feel confident that she knows the needs of the town of Elkton at this point. We discussed very thoroughly. So I'm really excited she's here, and glad the way she wants to work with the individual towns and see what our needs are. So I'm looking forward to that.
Great, thank you. Thank you. And you're welcome to come by anytime. I literally left my car at Mary Randall and walked over. It is a block and a half, so you're welcome to visit anytime.
Okay.
I think Mary Randall's having a meeting at, what is it, next month? Are you invited to that? They're asking individuals or representatives from various churches to meet, or am I ahead of myself? Well,
Yes? Oh, which meeting? Oh, yes. We have, yes. I'm sorry. That did a little blank on my mind. Not putting Pastor Gibbons together with Commissioner Gibbons. I'm sorry. Yes,
well,
we
I'm
are
not a
meeting.
pastor, you don't get some representative church.
Yes, we are meeting this current on the 25th. I am also doing an outreach to pastors in the area and the churches in the area so that they get a better sense of who Meeting Ground is under the new leadership.
Great.
Good.
And we are also holding our annual meeting this Sunday at 2 o'clock at Wayfarers, which is the women's shelter on Delaware Avenue. And that's open to the public. We'd love to have you.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. Well,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
coming in.
Thank
Coming
you.
in. Okay, Jeannie.
You have in front of you copies of the 2012 annual planning report. We're required to submit an annual report to the state regarding land use.
You can use the mic too. Thank you.
Regarding land use patterns and anything that affects land use in the town. The page 2 is a summary of everything that's in the body of the document. And rather than go through everything, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have on it.
I just wanted to ask you, Jeannie, there was a change in the original one, I was told earlier, is that?
Yeah,
And
the
where
one
was
that I
that?
had sent with Friday's packet,
Right.
the first 7 pages were correct, the last few pages were incorrect.
Okay.
We have in front of you now, it's the
Right,
the
okay.
full packet.
So it's the
And
final
all it
five.
did was it broke down what page 2 described. It was just
Okay.
a breakdown of all that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's good, Jeannie. Good job. And that's another thing we've done in the past year. That's good.
Very nice,
Very informative.
yeah.
And the state just requires that we have it all, we file it with the local authority, so we submit it before this board for approval. The planning commission reviewed it and approved it on February 11th.
Okay.
This goes to the Monroe Department of Planning?
Yes.
All right. Do I have a motion to accept the annual report?
Some of,
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, Gina. Okay, Ken?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good evening. Before I give you my report, I want to share some really good news with you guys.
Yes, speak up a little bit.
Father's Day, my daughter gave birth to a 8-pound, 2-ounce boy.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
So I just got back.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I just got back from Seattle.
Father's Day present.
It was
Wow,
the best.
couldn't ask for
It
anything
was the
better.
best.
And even better, if he got your name, did he get it?
You know, they named him Milo, and I'm not sure on the middle name.
You
yet.
was a close second, though.
Well, everybody's been named Mike has gotten my name, so I don't think we need another Ken. But anyway. And the other good news, Commissioner Gibbons, I want to share with you. Megan got her doctorate.
I saw that, and I'm so glad for her having, been her instructor or something.
Yeah, she was with you at Perryville,
Right.
and I thought you'd like that. So we're very proud of her. She's
Good.
a real trooper. She gave her dissertation, and she's like ready to go any minute. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So I have good news, really, to tell you. I don't have a lot to tell you, but I'll just give you a brief, summation of the water and wastewater facilities for the last couple months. The results, again, are outstanding. Our average BOD was 2.1 milligram per liter. Our maximum limit's 30. Total suspended solids, we averaged 0.8, and our limit's 30. The total nitrogen was 1.6. We tried to keep it below 4. And total phosphorus was 0.04, when we have a 0.3 limit. So the numbers just can't really get any better than what we're doing, I don't think. Some of the highlights I want to tell you is we implemented a backflow prevention program for the facilities. And basically what that means is that the water plant and the wastewater plant both have backflow preventers on their potable water supply lines to the facilities to ensure that nothing would ever get back into the system. It's to protect the integrity of the potable water distribution system, and it's something that's been needed, and we finally implemented it, and we have checked the existing backflow preventers. For instance, at the water plant, we have 3, and we have inspected them, and they're working fine. And the wastewater plant has several as well, and they're working as well. So we'll continue to inspect them on an annual basis to make sure that they're working properly. That's what's required. We hope to see this program expand throughout the town, maybe become part of the pretreatment program, whereas any industry in town or really any business or anything, or anyone that would have a backflow preventer, that they would be inspected on an annual basis and maintained to ensure the integrity of the water distribution system and the health of the people, of the residents. So that's our goal. Some of the other things that we were able to accomplish, just, the Hurricane Andrea went through, dumped a lot of rain on the town. It really did not do any damage at the facilities. We did treat excess of 12 million gallons through the facility, and we maintained permit. We didn't exceed any of our limits, so we did real well with that. We did participate with the town's flushing of the hydrants last month. That went real well. And I may have told you this the last time, but I don't recall, but we did a dry run with Bell Hill offline. I don't know, did I share that with you? Anyway, that went real well, and so as a result of that, one of the things we're going to do is the booster station for Bell Hill Water Tower is going to supply the water to the Bell Hill service area when Bell Hill is taken offline to be painted. So one of our concerns is that we're going to set up a control system at the pumping station so that in the case of a fire, we'll be able to provide fire protection to the service area as well as the average demand for water. And we've installed the controls already. And I was talking with Steve and Ross today. We're going to do a dry run, I think, in about 2 weeks. And we're going to do it late at night. We're going to open up some hydrants, see if the controls kick in the pumps like we're planning them to happen. So just give you a little update on that. We're just getting ready for that. That's going to be a big project. So we want to make sure that everything's working and everyone's, you got a good water supply and good fire protection. Good. That's really about all I have for now. Unless you have any
Okay.
questions.
Have any questions? Okay.
No, I have none.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Okay, Louis.
The item I have tonight to present to the board is a mutual aid agreement between Cecil County and the Town of Elkton's Police Department, actually between Cecil County Sheriff's Department. The town had previously had a mutual aid agreement with the Sheriff's Office, but it was signed by Brian Lockhart and former administration, so this is an upgrade of that mutual aid agreement. And it has been reviewed by council, Mr. Wilson, and found legally sufficient. And essentially what this does is allows the Elkton Police Department during situations that when they're outside their jurisdiction to operate as to have police authority, not to initiate things outside, but they run into different situations in which they may assist the sheriff's office, and if they do, they can exercise law enforcement powers outside the town. It's permitted by state law to have mutual aid agreements that allow multiple jurisdictions to interface. Of course, the sheriff's office has countywide jurisdiction. So I would ask the board to accept this agreement, and then it'll go before the county council, and once they approve it, and it's signed by all parties and becomes effective.
I do have a motion to accept the mutual aid agreement.
So move.
Have a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
That's all I have.
I just have a couple of things. One thing, I gave everybody a map of the convention floor layout in Ocean City. We'll be going there next week for our convention. But you will see there's a considerable difference to the hall. So I thought I'd give you a heads up before you got there. I was there for the Firemen's Convention. It's considerably changed a lot. The hall is not the same hall that was there years ago that we've been going to. So you can just take a look at that and give you at least get a general idea where things are and where the rooms are. So it's going to change, and it's going to change again next year, they said. So there's a lot of work going on down there.
You talking about the bigger hall?
Yeah, the big hall, if you recall, when you walked in you go up the escalators, you walked in that front door,
To your right.
right straight off the escalators. Well, that's where the stage is now. You can't go in those doors. You have to go down to the ocean, to the bayside, walk down that way and go in.
Can't walk in the front.
You can't walk in front anymore. They closed that off. I mean, they might have it open for you to walk in, but the stage is right there. So it's totally different. You're facing the ocean now instead of the bay.
Right.
It's just reversed.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of signage when we get there. So,
Yeah, well, you'll get the hang of it once you get around it and look at where the different places are. Yeah. And the other thing is, you all got the email regards to Clark Design Group. Now we've had a contract with him, but I don't, since we've kind of put a hold on the rec center, I think it'd only be good that we put a hold on Mark to not go any further and spend that money unless we intended to put it out for bid and then build it. I just wanted to see what everybody thought, you know, that, because we still got a lot of ways to go for before he's done, and we can stop it now or whatever you guys like to do. It's just saving us some money.
I mean, I thought we was gonna just pay what we owe as at this time and put a hold on it until we find means of extra funding.
Well,
We put a hold on the engineer, but we never put a hold on architectural services.
I thought when you did one, you would automatically do the other.
That's what I thought.
Well, that's
We're
what
under
we're,
contract to Mark Clark. We have to give him 7 days' notice to terminate services. The board didn't approve that. They're on time and materials as the engineer, so it was easy to shut them down.
You
So-
did-
But you're under AIA contract with Mark Clark.
Okay, so we have to make I need to make a motion.
To make a motion to terminate the agreement,
The
and then I'll
con-
give 7 days' notice to him.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to terminate the contract, the current contract with Clark Design for the community rec and community center / rec center for Elkton until, well, period, I guess.
You have a second?
Second.
A second. Any further discussion?
Well, as far as the discussion, I like to make sure that we're clear on this, is that, you know, we intend on moving forward at some point with a recreation center, but, you know, after looking at the magnitude of this endeavor, this particular recreation center, that we don't want to burden the town with that type of bill. So, you know, again, in my eyes, we just need to be able to do better than the room that we have upstairs for all the different activities and things that we have going on. So,
I did send back an email, but there was no response regarding this prior, not the last email before this, stating at what point can we look for grant money? Are we at that point? Because we are under contract right now. So if we finish this where we're at, is it giving us enough information to go out to look for the grants that will help us and actually see what is needed for this rec center? Because we'll never have a number that we can budget or do anything if we don't get to that point. And we are probably about 7/10 of the way there, I believe. I'm not certain. Louis, can you answer that question?
Well, the last email that I had from Mark Clark, that he wasn't quite complete with the design phase, I believe, let's see. And he has the schematic design and design development phase. I think he's not completely done the design development phase. He mentioned that he needed, his structural engineer needed geotechnical figures or data from our engineer to calculate the stress and load on the building, structural numbers. But I've shut them down, so they're not doing any geotechnical work. So that kind of puts a stitch to that. The contract documents obviously have not been started yet. They're very expensive. That's the largest of the costs here, $70,000 just for the contract documents. Probably if you want an actual number, probably at some point in time you'll have that. I'm not sure how much you want to pay to get that number, because we've already paid them $92,000, and if we continue, we'll end up paying them $157,900.
well, if we're,
Just for the documents, not for any other thing beyond that.
if we've done this to recruit money that we assume that we don't have to spend, why would we continue? I understand the contract, but there's no sense continuing in the structure of the building if we're not going to get it done. And some people made a comment, next couple of years, whatever, we still got to find funding, but that doesn't mean we move further with the process. We just put a halt on it until we find more funding. Now, if a person we're dealing with in a contract can't understand that, then we need to halt the thing completely.
Right, right.
Well, giving them notice will just stop the work in progress, that's all.
Right.
Doesn't mean you couldn't start it up again.
Right.
I
Okay,
don't
so-
think that you'll find grants to cover the entire cost of this project, and you won't find any grants to cover the operating costs, which will exceed the cost that we have experienced in Parks and Rec today. And since we have a serious deficit in our general fund, I don't believe that, I think the board's taking the right action to shut this down for the time being at least.
Now, from legal advice, we don't need any kind of time period
Need 7 days.
other than the 7 days. We don't need to do anything. Okay. Because
Probably if you want to discontinue his work on this contract.
I guess you
I don't know whether you're planning on circling around to get somebody to go back with him and let him continue on finishing the contract, which I think is what you're intending to do.
And the thing was to know what our numbers are. Get to the point where we could go for a community block grant, where we could go for the Michelle Obama Get Fit grant. If we don't have that information, in my eyes, we just wasted $92,000 of taxpayers' money.
I mean,
I know where we're at, but we did, but we're at a point where it's at hold. I don't want it to say it's dead in the water.
I mean, I'm understanding. I think I'm understanding what you're saying, but I mean, I kind of feel like that's what's kind of led us to this point. We continue to keep going forward for the sake of just going forward, and at this point, we have to take a serious look at the fact of like what Louis just told us. If we continue to go forward with what is planned, we still have the operating costs to deal with, and we're not so
Exactly, and we don't know those numbers, and that's been the stumbling block all along. Commissioner Piner put aside 1.5 million. There is still 500,000 there. We've used about 130,000 maybe.
but I'm not sure.
92,000 of that money. So are we at a point where I'm sorry, what is it?
Well, actually, I haven't used any of that money yet. We've
Yeah.
been paying the bill so far with that $500 that's been collected for each equipment flowing. We haven't yet gotten into the
500,000 at all.
Not yet.
But isn't what you guys are discussing in the kind of a mute point based on the fact that we're operating at a deficit? We are operating at a deficit.
Out of the money that's budgeted in our budget, are we at a deficit right now?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, but what we did to raise taxes at our last meeting,
We're still in a deficit.
$900,000 plus.
so are
With
you
that
looking to
increase.
tell us when we get together in July, we need to take that $500,000 and put it in the general
Well,
fund?
right now, of the $1.5 million that was designated from the fund balance for the recreation center, $1 million of it was undesignated, and that was, and we used 1/4 of that to fund this upcoming year's budget, in addition to some of the original fund balance. We looked at kind of broke up the unassigned fund balance between what it was before and then the new new $1 million that was added to it. Didn't want to go through the full $1 million additional dollars this year, so we can use 1/4 of it. The plan was use 1/4 of it for the next 4 years. Okay, because we're at 50. The city would fund unassigned fund balance 25% of the subsequent year's budget. Okay, but not to get there and spend the last dollar to it and then address it. Kind of easing into it.
Basically,
That makes, I don't know if that makes sense or not.
it seems to me that we have to talk design good, and they're designing something we can't afford to buy right now. And they're at a point where they're not gonna just trash and throw away, they have to be paid for what's up to the time we have. We have to give them 7 days notice, and we can do that without calls. I mean, and we give them 7 days notice, they just put it on the back burner. And that's the kind of thing what I think they would do anyhow. If in fact that we needed generators, I think to get numbers or what have you, it wouldn't be tough probably for them to bring it off the back burner if they had to do it. But right now, there's no sense. They're just gathering, money every month, and it's we're not going to be able to use them at this point. I mean, that's just my thought on that. 7 days notice is what you have to give. They pay them up to the date you terminate them, whatever their costs are and what they've done for that period of time. So,
Okay. Any other discussion?
Are we clear on what we just got finished discussing? We said an awful lot of things. Where are we? So I won't feel dumb.
I mean, I agree, Charlie. Commissioner Gibbons, I apologize.
Basically, just we're going to put this on the back burner until we can come up with some more financing and see where we want to go. I mean, if we're not going to build it, then why are we going forward?
I mean, I understand, put it on the back burner, but the people who we are obligated to or what have you, are we all aware of that?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
That's what we just did by ending putting an end to the contract,
Right.
correct?
Right.
Your vote was to term, you had a motion and a second, you
Right.
were in discussion. So the vote, if you got 3 votes, then I'll notify Park Design Group, I'll give them 7 days notice.
Right.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. That's all my own business. Mary Jo?
I have a question regarding the street, High Street, when they redid the street. When they did the bump outs, they put grass there. And the grass is growing, and now it's something else to maintain. I don't know why they put grass there, why it wasn't, none of the other bump outs had the grass in it. But it's I don't know if it's something that can be looked at now or because,
Look at it. I'm for putting concrete there.
I mean,
It would have made sense to make it all concrete.
Yeah.
well, somebody's already said, to look for, we hope that the town doesn't get its own letters if the grass gets too high there. And the only other thing I have is I wanted to thank Planning and Zoning, especially Craig Trossel, for all the work they did on getting the RMR building down. The letters written, I'm so glad the property owner decided to tear down rather than go to court, and I just want to commend them for their work publicly.
Well,
I had a couple items. Number one, I mentioned last meeting that we see a lot of the shopping carts being brought through towns, people using them as almost like vehicles anymore. I want to see if we can either get police to get a handle on them. When I say that, I can't stop the person and tell them to take the cart back, but I think law enforcement can do something about it, because if a shopping cart says Acme on it, that doesn't mean Acme's right down the middle of the street. That means that's a stolen cart. We need to look at these issues more as an offense instead of just somebody using it as a casual means of transporting, because once they get it from A to B, they're not going to bring it back. And that's where the carts are being left down. I understand now. We had letters sent out before to the different stores to let them know that we're seeing a lot of carts around town. But why should we be picking them up after? If they let the carts leave the facilities, then we should throw them away. That's what I'm going to suggest.
what if we pick them up and then notify them and charge them if we get them back to them?
Throw them away. They'll get charged because they have to buy every time you lose a cart. But I'm saying that in a way because it's just being ridiculous. I passed 2 carts today with someone rolling it with bags in them because maybe they didn't want a taxi or they don't have a car. But everybody else has to deal with cleaning up somebody else's mess. That's one of the reasons why I'm bringing that to the table. I know you're going to say something, Captain.
We'll call DPW when we can and have them either tossed in the dumpster at DPW or brought back to Acme or wherever it came from.
Okay.
I doubt very highly that courts are going to be prosecuting people for taking a shopping cart.
Well, it's just an expense to the store. If they lose them, they got to buy more.
My concern is the look of the town when the carts are being sit on one quarter and then next minute you see another one going past. It's sitting on it and they stay there 2 or 3 days. So that's the issue behind that. I'm not worrying about who's taking a quarter or anything. We need to put a handle on it, because if not, we're going to let it continue, and then before you know it, we're not doing anything to try to address it. So, all right, that's
Commissioner
one.
Connor, can I just add to what you were saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I mean, it's metal. Can we scrap them? Get them and scrap them.
Some of them
town
not.
can get some money for them.
Anyway,
I'm just adding to it.
Yeah,
I'm just adding to it rather than just throw them away. You know, it's metal, scrap them, get a little couple of dollars.
all right, like I said, I just want to bring that back to the table. Then the house on the corner of Delaware Avenue and Main, the bushes, they need to be cut back at night when the blinking lights are on. Cars come flying through, you can't even see the car until after it's too late. Those bushes need to be taken care of. I don't know the address. I didn't look at the address. Michelle, you're probably on that, right? Delaware Avenue and Main Street at the blinking light. Then a follow from, is it Grays Mountain, when we had the homeowners association come in here about the road. Where are we at with that? Walnut Hill, I'm sorry.
Sent a letter to Sigler Joint Venture. I don't think I got a response.
Did they respond yet?
Talking about Bonnie Ridge.
Deal Ridge was the other
Bonnie Ridge.
limited partnership.
Yeah, I was
They're
up there.
no longer in
That
existence.
man said he saw you.
But I sent it to White Cabin Store.
Right, I saw.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm surprised they haven't
And-
done something already.
And the last thing is, only because I know I see this a lot at night, the concerns with the bikes with no lights on them. There's too many of them running, and I'm afraid somebody's going to get hit, or if not, again, I'm asking that maybe the police enforcement can look at this as a no sight, no. I mean, it's a hazard.
It's already being done.
Okay, I'm just.
They stop them. May not get everyone, but they stop people for that.
Okay. All right.
Good.
All right. I just know I passed 2 of them just 2 nights ago. And the police was in front of me and they didn't stop them, but I didn't try to look at no number or nothing like that. But when you say that, some stop them, some doesn't. Address it, please. Because I know for sure nobody stopped these 2 that was on the bike in front of me. And that was around 11:25. Okay, so other than that, that's it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, well, Mayor, for something you know, the other day I came through Main Street and a young lady came off the curb toward me. I kept going. Another time, the same thing happened. So it is what it is.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
I
I'm going to
actually,
put a sign on my truck. This is Mayor Persona. What do you think? Maybe they won't come up to me.
There you
What do you
go.
say, Mary Jo?
I actually went to talk to Captain Donnelly before I come in the meeting today about that. And he did, I saw something actually coming in here that I've been seeing a lot of, what you're talking about, and he addressed it.
As a
So,
matter of fact, the other day there was also a guy stretched out in front of Elkton and Lions on the curbing right there, like he was sleeping
yeah,
during the day.
yeah.
One of the things that I noticed in the last, again, couple of days, because I'm just looking, they tend to stop at the crosswalk knowing that a person has to stop. That these are the prostitutes. I mean, it was come straight out of so-called ladies walking the street. They would stop and either wait for the vehicle to stop, and then they would walk in front and then try to address the person. Because it happened to me on last week. I stopped right in front of the Boys and Girls Club. Someone was ready to cross in front of the senior center, and it was a lady ready to get into my car, and I said, "Go get away from here." That's all I said, and I laughed because it was funny how I was trying to be polite to let them go through, but yet they were using that as a means of vehicle stopping. So keep an eye out for that.
We arrest them.
All right.
Arresting them is one thing.
No, it's not.
Keeping them in jail and preventing them from going right back to what they do for a living is a whole other story.
And on Monday about 4:15, I was out there with some kids out to Mellow Park, just a few kids with helping about basketball, and I called Earl to come out to give me a hand. And after we were done with the kids, Earl and I was at the parking lot at the very end still talking. And then we were looking ahead up on the very end of where you come in. We saw two women. They were walking with a dog with a leash. They were about 26 to 35 years of age. The woman let the dog off the leash, particularly when she got to the north side of the park. And Earl and I sitting there watching them. Dog went to the restroom. Dog ran around. Dog went to the restroom again. Dog went to the restroom a third time. And as they were continuing walking, the dog runs back to the lady. She leashes him. And when she comes around where Earl and I was at the west end of the park, I simply said to the lady, you know, there's an ordinance against that. Didn't identify ourselves or anything. And the woman said, oh, okay. And they kept walking. And when they got to the south side of the park, the dog did his business even on the leash. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So Earl and I was talking because we had just discussed in this meeting here, what do you do in that case? It would be asinine to call the police because the woman could always deny it. And certainly, yes, sir. I'm glad you're here tonight. What should Earl and I have done? And not waste your officer's time.
I think maybe I would have identified myself as a representative of the town, and if we got bags down there.
And Earl and I talked about the bags.
Right. Go bag it. Bottom line is we can have all the rules and laws we want. We're gonna have people that just don't care.
And I agree with that.
That's right.
But hey, I mean, a call to 911. I mean, it's your discretion. Is an officer going to get out there?
And I thought that was not worthwhile, and I guess he thought the same thing again, to arrest somebody out there to get into a tiff with somebody who in all instances probably said, well, I didn't do that. And of course, Earl and I couldn't see the identification because that was way on the other side of the park, so it's just interesting.
Good point.
And when we did discuss that in there, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
What's the answer? There's none.
I mean, we do have the signage there, right?
Yes.
We do have signage there?
Right, and the bags are there too in the front.
Yeah, right.
Do we have a signage there about the leashes? If the dog is off the leash?
Well, it's the code, I think, the law should be posted out there.
I thought there was a sign that
Right
the
at the
dog's
beginning.
supposed to be leashed out
It
there.
should be right in the front there.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, maybe we can look at stepping up maybe a fine for no leash. And I know that has nothing to do with the dog using the restroom that many times, my goodness. But my thing is, again, sometimes you have to attack a problem from a different angle. So again, if they know that you can identify them, that dog was off the leash, maybe we can hit them that way. Maybe $100 fine. I've seen those signs.
But I don't know how Earl and I could have done that in that instance. It'd be their word against ours.
Well, I mean, you are a town official.
That's
Yeah.
true,
That's what I'm
but
gonna say.
Issue a violation.
Yeah.
Well, next time, try that and identify yourself.
I hope I don't see it again.
If that's true, we don't want to see it.
The only thing,
You done?
You haven't done it.
the only thing
business.
the only thing I have is on High Street, the curb in front of the barber shop there, across from the church. That seems to be like the only curb that is not finished. I mean, is there a reason for that? All the other curbs are,
High Street in what location?
In front of the barber shop.
yeah, right in front of the barber
High
shop.
and south.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
South Street?
High and south.
I don't know.
Across the
Right, yeah, right across from South Street. Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it. The contract's done, so I don't know.
Thank you.
That's it? I mean, new business or anything? Mary Jo, anything?
No, I think.
Earl, anything? Charles?
I have none. I'd like to have a closed session and talk personnel. We won't be no more than 10 minutes.
Okay,
I don't have any new business.
all right. Mr. Lehman?
Sounds like the town's being prostituted and going to the dogs.
remember that one night when you ride through, think about myself in Litzenberg.
We voted for Proposition N, so. Not the only one that hasn't. This article was in the paper this week, which I thought was a very good article and explained what you're doing and so forth and so on. And you talk about here tackling specific budgetary issues and so forth and so on. I thought that was very good. And one thing I wanted to know is you're going to be meeting, I guess, was it one Wednesday a month on this, something like that? Is how will we know what ideas you're coming up with and what savings that you'll be able to propose for the next budget? Is there some way you can report that to us, for example, at the meetings or something like that?
Well, first of all, you are welcome at the workshops. Do you know that when we do discuss them?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
They're open meetings.
That's an open meeting, and it's the second Wednesday of the month at 4 p.m.
Okay, let me make a note of that. Second Wednesday of the month
Mm-hmm.
at 4 p.m. So the
4
next
o'clock.
one's in July.
Yes.
Right.
And where's that meeting held? Here?
Right here.
Right in the same place, same hall, right here.
Do we get a chance to participate during the meeting, or do we have to wait till you all finish?
No, it's just for us, our discussion period, that we discuss everything for ourselves. So we can work amongst ourselves to get this,
I
all
mean,
these
we can't,
ideas.
as citizens, we can't throw our 2 cents worth in and say, why wouldn't you do this, or here's an idea, or something like that?
That was one of the discussions we last had, because Mr. Gibbons brought up a valid point that when does a citizen gets a chance to address any issues that we bring up? I know we as a board wanted to make it a work session so that we can work, but Mr. Gibbons made a point that a suggestion that maybe we should allow a comment or two from discussions that we have in our work session, which shouldn't take but a couple minutes for someone to put their, I use the word 2 cents in, because somebody else's idea might come to make us change our minds on something that we're doing in a work session.
Well,
and that was a point that I think you're saying, and then Mr. Gibbons brought up. We didn't decide what we wanted to do, but I still would like to maybe open that up so that people can give a comment or two on stuff that we talk about, because no one knows what we're talking about until we start talking about it.
And I also suggested a citizens corner type thing we do either before or afterwards. So if you know what is on the agenda, if the public would like to come to discuss and give us your input, your knowledge, I would personally like to hear that, and I would personally make myself available for it. But we haven't, we just started discussion on it, but we did not finish it at that point.
Right.
okay, well, that's good.
But we still didn't answer your question, can you?
Right.
Or will you be able to comment?
Well, you know, if I came to a meeting, for example, and I heard something, I would make a constructive comment. I don't have a vote, but I could say, well, based on my experience or whatever, why wouldn't you try this or do this? That's all, you know, just, and I think things like that can be helpful, that type of thing. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree, 100%, 100%.
Is it a way we can open that up? I mean, again, not to discredit anyone, but again, Mayor, you have the power to give the gavel if we can talk for 2-3 minutes, just to add a comment on things that we discuss. And if you see it's something that's going to take an hour, 2 hours, then you hit the gavel and tell them we want to move on with this process. We like your comments, thank you, and we'll move on. That's basically the way that should be handled. Does anybody agree or disagree with me?
I agree. I've said before, the mayor has the power in the gavel.
Well, let me ask this for consideration. If we had a topic at a work session, and since we were not actually doing any voting,
Correct.
we discussed that topic, and you did listen in, and you decided that you had some things that you wanted to add to that discussion, would you be able to bring that, say, to the next meeting and address it then?
Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you bring it up at the time that it's, I mean, when you're in the middle of it, why wouldn't you, if somebody else were there, why wouldn't you include that at the time and put it in the mix as you're going from this point to that point to a conclusion?
And to answer that for the question you just said, by that time, the next meeting, we're voting on something. And it's too late for them to bring that up. That's the point that they were bringing up before, was add the comments in, give us time to be able to digest it, and then when we do vote on it, we at least have another option than just what we just talked about. Does that make sense?
No, it all makes sense to me. I mean, you would prefer to add your comments then. Some may think about it for a couple of days and want to address it later. You know, what about those individuals? So no, I'm just opening this up for discussion. I'm not going any other way. I don't think that we ought to make that decision tonight. I think we ought to take that in and discuss it. So I'm just opening up.
Yeah.
Just opening up discussion.
We'll discuss it and see how we come up with.
Okay.
Just
Mayor, they said you're the boss, so you
final
can.
comment, if time permits and time's allowed, we allow them to be able to.
But you know, the bottom line is, and I said before, you're a taxpaying citizen, they ought to have opportunity. I've been in education all my life, children were my business, and I would do whatever. If now I'm a councilman and the constituents are my business, then they should be involved and should be in the utmost of our allowing them to assist us in whatever we do.
I agree. I agree.
Enough said. I think it sounds like there's an agreement. So, the other thing I wanted to mention to you, well, the other thing, another example, we'll get off this because I think we're finished with this, but when you were talking about the other day, the 4th of July fireworks, one of the gentlemen here came up with a compromise proposal, which may make sense. And that's the kind of thing that you'll get by including some of the people from the public. That's an example, I think. That some people were over here, some people were over here. This was sort of the middle of the road that maybe everybody can agree on. So those kind of things will be helpful, I think.
Yep.
So much for that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that as you get into cost cutting, it seems to me it would be a good idea to involve the employees in the town. And there's a saying that nobody knows the job as well as the person who's doing it. And you've all probably heard that. And in my experience, you'll find out if you get the workers and the people in the town, whoever it is, different departments and different people, you talk to them and find out, for example, their ideas on cost cutting and what could be done better. I think what you'll come up with is ideas that you all will never have thought of. And that's been my experience when people are involved in that kind of stuff. They come up with things that you could have spent your whole life trying to come up with the idea and you wouldn't have come up with it because they have a perspective that you don't have. Right. So I'm making that suggestion that you might consider that as you look at as you go into this budget thing and look at the costs and you may come up with ideas of things that you should be doing too. It's not necessarily 100% reducing costs. It's new ideas, better ways of doing things. Yep. And you're on the better revenue. Somebody may have an idea. Right. That kind of thing is it's called employee involvement. And I think if you all think about that and take a look at it, I think it will help as you go down the road.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm done.
Good.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks.
July 14th.
Got it.
Always good to get the buy-in.
I'm sorry, July 10th. July 10th is the next workshop.
You're on different calendars, I guess.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Wednesday, July 10th, 4 o'clock.
Mr. Litzenberg?
I must have been under misunderstanding about what I asked for the other evening about making Gilpin Avenue a one-way street one night a year.
Oh, the graduation?
Graduation. Well, Friday night was rained out. Charlie came up to see what I was referring to. While I was there, while he was there, somebody ran over my rocks, which protects the water line that comes from the street into my house. Charlie was right there when they did that. No big deal. One lady had her mirror broken off because the street's so narrow. Now, Charlie saw the same thing I did, and correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie. Could an emergency vehicle get down that street?
No, not at all.
Could a fire engine get down the
No.
street? Ambulance, nothing could get down that street. Sooner or later, there's going to be an accident somewhere along the line, and then somebody's seriously going to be hurt. So this is 1 year from now. Maybe you can do something about it. I think that maybe I misunderstood, but I think it was supposed to have been addressed at that graduation. Am I correct or not?
Well, Chief was taking care of that. I don't know
No,
what.
he didn't take care of it.
Yeah, but,
He didn't take care of it.
you think something we can do like that now? Like you said, got a year and ahead that we can look at that and
Relayed to me that we were supposed to.
alter.
You were supposed to what?
It wasn't
So it
related.
wasn't relayed to us, to me.
Well, he sat right there at the meeting and said to take care of it. Told the chief.
A
that.
year in advance, yeah, probably could be.
Because that would give everybody plenty of notice prior to the time that street's going to be one way prior to graduation.
Plus,
I mean,
some big notice to the school.
We give notice,
Well,
more
you got
notice.
That's all you
Give
got to do
notice.
before graduation. But if
Yeah.
you take it from James Street towards Gilpin Avenue, the flow of traffic will go one direction for one night.
Right.
Charlie knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I understand it. I actually followed up with the mayor asking if there were any complaints or issues or anything like that filed with the police department, and you said there was nothing. So I kind of expected maybe some of the property owners to, call the police department and complain about it. But my suggestion is, maybe close the street off and just have it going out.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
if you want me to
close it
bring
off.
in the people in the street, I'll bring every one of them in here.
No, I'm not saying that
He
needs.
might-
What I did was just like I said. I just wanted to see, what it would take. We'd have to have, backup as far as closing the street off, right?
No, I wouldn't close it.
You're making it one way.
One way.
See,
You would still have to have them not parked though,
the
right?
street's 17 feet wide.
Sure, I
You've
understand.
got cars poking on both directions, and somebody trying to go past either direction, it's gridlock.
You have one vehicle going through, right? We still have to address the fact that they're going to park on both sides.
That's
So-
going to happen.
Well, you still can't get emergency vehicles through.
That's right.
So what I'm saying is, if you close the street off, then they can't park on the
You
sides.
can- I have put signs up temporarily parking on one side only.
Oh, now you
There's others.
you can stop them
places that
from.
do
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
parking on one side
I don't
only.
know.
Okay.
If there was an
I
emergency,
think it's
they would
something
have
that's got to be
trouble.
addressed, because I've
No, I
got an
agree.
elderly lady there. If she has a problem, I've got Dick Boyle, everybody knows Dick, he had a serious fall, he's in a wheelchair, if something happened, they had another fall, they couldn't get a vehicle in there.
Right, right. Yeah, that's the only reason why I
Give you a year
said
to
close
do
it
this.
off.
Do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Captain Donnelly, I'm sorry. He wants to suggest.
Yeah, you're saying the street's only 17 feet wide.
On my end of it, the other side's wider.
Okay.
But they park on both sides of the street, you can't get cars that are going to and from places gridlock.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding it. So are we saying that you want to place signage on the street so there's only parking on one side?
Just for that one night,
Okay.
for that one night.
Because my thought process is saying what's preventing somebody from having some kind of a party on Gilpin Avenue, and you have that situation occur on any other given night where we don't have.
No, and Matt, you weren't here, so he was suggesting, which I thought was to just go one way out. After, when the ceremony's over, traffic going one way, so you don't have this type of thing, they're not fitting, and like you said, someone got a mirror broke, and on his, and he is at a location, of course, where it can see both sides going in and out.
Okay, all right.
And
I can park my vehicle and go out on Gilpin Avenue, it doesn't affect me. And Charlie will tell you, I've had people that day park in my driveway on Gilpin side so they could get off the street.
Yeah, right,
And I do that, I don't care. But there's people that are on that street that could have real issues. If you want to come up sometime, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about where I am, how narrow it is there. Down further, from say where Warrenville, from there on down, it's a wider street. And they can pass. Right there where we are, you can't do
I
it.
don't understand why it's
Just come up sometime and show you. So
So
we'll address that then.
Yep, we got a whole year to work on it.
We hope about a plan in place, I'm sure.
It's an old story, but getting back to that community center, maybe I misunderstood again, but didn't you ask at one time to get 3 bids for steel buildings? Wasn't Lewis asked to get 3 bids for steel buildings?
Did you?
I mean, I was discussing steel buildings, and I'm not sure where we went as far as getting the bid.
The board didn't authorize the release of a bid for specifications for a building. It was just a discussion item,
Okay.
but it wasn't.
We didn't have the
We
specifications.
didn't have the specifications to do it. That's because we're not done that, what we started.
Well, if you'd have gotten bids from people like Butler and Nolan or somebody steel building, you'd have had your structural engineer, everything would have been done probably a whole lot cheaper to operate than what you're doing here. A whole lot cheaper.
Okay,
There's a lady out there. She doesn't have to be here. The institution.
do you have to say anything?
No.
I'm just, okay.
My son's working on a merit badge for Boy Scouts. We had it over the phone.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Why don't he come up to the mic and identify himself so we know who he is at least?
You want to do that? Just let us know? That's great.
That is great.
You can sit down. Relax. That's all right.
Let me see just who I am, my troop is.
Sure.
Be prepared.
Scout motto there.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, I'm Garrett Begg of Troop 28 of Legion Post, what, 186, right? 194. 194. And I'm working on the communications merit badge, and I had to attend a public meeting. Yeah. Here I am.
So where do you go to school?
I go to the Tome School in Northeast.
Very good.
Is this the first town meeting you've attended?
Yes.
What are your thoughts? I'd be curious to ask. Mom's
And relax.
Just relax, yeah.
Be honest. I love to hear from the youth of today.
I'm not so sure what to say. I mean, I thought the meeting was so far. Well, it's about to end, right? So I thought it was productive enough for one meeting. I'm not sure what to say, like on specifics and anything else. I don't think I'm really in like as much of a position to make much comment.
Have you gone to any other meetings, or you just have to go to one?
I believe just one.
Just one?
You need to go to a county meeting. Or better yet, Rising Sun.
Oh, Lewis, please.
You'll see the real action.
You'll be able to make a comparison.
There you go.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for
Oh,
coming.
thanks
with us
for coming.
tonight.
Thanks
Good luck.
Good luck.
My son graduated from Tenement. It's a very good school. And he's doing very well.
I'd like to make a motion for a closed meeting after our regular meeting.
All right.
We will not reconvene.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We will not be reconvening.